really tough to understand.
Like
in many projects.
Yeah. I think that the guy who does the videos is awful.
Yeah.
All he does is he explains what to do, but he doesn't really tell you what the purpose of that function is. He's like, you just go in here and do this, and let's change this, and let's change the color of this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah,
it's not a way to learn. I put the most awful course evaluation together, and I already emailed the teacher saying, I'm documenting all my complaints with you.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I think I know initially, like especially those videos, he made them super ambiguous. And I think it was like that whole we want to see what you can do with the information we're giving you, but it's that I think it's on that line where it's a little ambiguous for people who are brand new at Excel versus maybe what it should be, but I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like they teach you, you know, A and B, and then they test you on A, B, C, and D, and they want you to stretch. And I get that, but it's just tough with an online class to stretch like that.
Yeah.
And you can't talk to anyone. You can't get help from anyone except for at these meetings.
Yeah.
It's like it's too late. I have 1 hour.
Yeah. Well, on the mini projects, if they just show an example, like a screenshot or something of what they're looking for, it would, because I'm visual, I can't like read something and picture it necessarily in my head.
Yeah.
Like I need to actually see what they want me to do instead of just, you know, telling me.
Well, I'm with you. I did the worst rating ever too, but I didn't send it to the teacher.
Oh, I've already emailed her like 50 times this semester.
Well, let's go over 10 at least to start, and those who've done 11, we can go over 11 also. But
yeah,
that way at least we get 10 kind of out of the way first.
Hey guys, can I interject one thing?
Go, please.
One of the things as to why this course is set up the way that it is because there's not just one right answer. And they want you to, at least my understanding is they want you to kind of step out and see how creative you can be in coming up with some of the things. Now, granted, I know that doesn't necessarily say that you'll have the skills and the understanding, but the fact that, you know, you can pretty much put anything in Google and ask them how to do something, and you'll see how the concepts work behind formulas to come up with stuff.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that at times. But yeah, there's definitely things they could change to make that premise a little bit more true and accurate for all things in the course.
Yeah. All right. Well, here I'm going to share my screen, Casey, because I want to get your thoughts about how you did Project 10 and how you set this up, because this was one where I think the instructions for this one were a little more not necessarily cut and dry. So I'm curious to see how kind of you set yours up for 10 and if I'm kind of anything near what you all did. But here's what I did for 10 with setting up the three tables and graphs. So like with that first part of it, my understanding was we're only putting on this particular table each month and taking the actual expense versus the forecasted expense. Is this table similar to kind of what you guys did also?
Yeah, it looks great.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No,
Mine's a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Mine's a lot smaller, but I think that was because I misunderstood the instructions, like I was saying earlier.
Okay. So yeah, the total part of it was I was assuming it was wanting the total of each month, you know, taking all 5 projects and seeing if we were above or below the forecasted. So I added the total at the bottom. I was assuming that's what they were wanting.
I did at the end of December. I totaled on the right, and I totaled up every project total.
Yeah,
they want the project total.
So I did that also, like over here on the raw data. I put the total over here on this side as well, like for each individual project.
Okay.
Because ultimately we needed those numbers for the pie, this pie chart over here. Now, that was my other question. The pie chart, I understood they wanted percentages and nothing more than percentages.
I put the dollar amounts
Yeah.
I put the dollar amounts though too.
And I don't think that, see, this is where we get into
Yeah.
that thing where I don't think that's going to be a wrong answer as long as you have the percentages in there.
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't ask for dollar amount on the pie chart. They only want a percentage. So if you put
Yeah.
more information in it, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Well, they said create a pie chart that shows the total actual R&D expenses for the year by project.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I put the totals.
Keep reading.
And it says use tabulators to show the percentage of each total R&D expenses of each project represents. So that's why I thought they needed both.
Yeah.
But how did you get your total R&D expenses, the line chart?
This one?
Mine are, the bottom figures aren't even showing up, basically, really. And the line charts are right on top of each other.
I had a problem earlier where one of the line charts seemed to be like adding the forecast upon each other. And then I just selected another chart and line chart, it was the same thing. And then it just like fixed it all.
Really?
Well, I mean, let's see here. Let me look at this real fast. So ultimately, if you look at this, so my line charts are all based off of this data right here. So this is ultimately the summed data of all of the other project expenses above it. So this is how I set up that particular chart. And then if you want to, adjust the different type of line versus bar, then that was just let's see, the change chart type, and then you can adjust it here. Yeah. So Casey, was this similar to kind of what you had also?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did a little bit more with my formatting, but yeah. Your chart looks spot on.
Okay.
Can I see your charts again?
Yeah. Do you want the actual charts? Okay. Yeah. So the table.
Okay. So I think the biggest problem that I did is I was just separating them by group or whatever. I didn't make a whole new chart for actual or table. I didn't make a new table for the forecast and the difference. So that's basically where my biggest time waster has been, because I've been fooling around doing it every other way instead of doing it that way, which I guess my brain doesn't think, oh, I should group all those together. It just never occurred to me, honestly.
Yeah, this table is based off, so I just added this difference right here below each project.
Right.
And so this table is just taking the values in each one of these and translating, because if you look, it's just the raw data up here, the raw data from those cells.
Right.
So
I didn't lay my whole, table out that way. I mean, that's just really what it boils down to. I didn't build my table that way. So
how did you end up building your table?
Well, I mean, similar to the raw data, but I didn't. But I added the difference in there.
Mm-hmm.
But it was grouped by project. Ace, Blazer, Hammer. It wasn't by forecast.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
So did you get to taking the differences of the actual versus the forecast?
Yes. I mean, I've done all that. I guess I just need to get a table that shows, I'm looking at your thing a little bit closer. Actual expense difference against forecast.
Right. So the table that he's showing is just the differences by month, by project. So you don't need the forecast or the actual in there. That's the first table up here. It says actual expense difference against forecast in thousands. So that's only going to be the difference summary, right? That's what that information is giving. So you can build, you'll build your chart. Those are just, in all honesty, you can just, reference the cells from the previous page. But he even said it's just a copy and paste, just a number. There's nothing special about that.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, and then these ones, these tables here. Do you guys have any other questions about either of these two tables, though?
Whenever I change in like these values here in your total R&D expenses line chart, mine are, like I said, right on top of each other, and the other ones on the bottom on the bar chart, I can't even see hardly.
I wonder if
how do you change your values to get at -100 up to 800? So you
Casey,
when it multiples of what?
This is just, quite honestly, this was default for me. I didn't really adjust anything for this for me, but I know you can change that. It's somewhere, man. Casey, maybe you have a little more insight on this one, but is it formatting the axis right here where you can do it?
I've got it. Yep. Right there. The minimum and maximum for the bounds is what's going to, and then the units down below it is what it's counting by.
Okay, so 800, and then the major is 100, and the minor is 20.
No, I wouldn't be 20 on the minor. You should be like the major. That's the big lines going across the minor. Even if you have tack marks, I actually don't even bother with tack marks on the minor because I don't think that's what the purpose of what the chart's trying to show. That's a philosophical debate rather than an actual debate here. I would set your major at increments of, oh gosh, let me see what I've got mine at. Sorry.
Because like I said, I can't even see my bar chart hardly.
Yeah, I think it's your bounds are probably just really spread, and that's probably why.
Let's see, what are my bounds? Let's see. Change format.
I'm trying to get there.
I did 150 on the major for mine. Just because I don't like all of the numbers on the left.
Let me see. But see that now my January, February, all my months are in the middle of the chart now. It moved it all. Oh. I have no idea.
Do you want to share your screen? We can take a look and see what you're doing or looking at, or
sure.
Your months are in the middle of the chart.
Okay, so present to everyone. Is that you are?
So on my axis options, the minimum I set was at a -100, maximum was at 800, major was at 100, minor was at 20. And I see everything fine, but I make my chart a little bit bigger than what Kevin has on his screen. And that's just a personal preference. If you want to make a smaller chart, then you'll need to change your specifications there a little bit.
Yeah, but even if I'm making it bigger,
share your screen so we can see what you're talking about.
I thought I did.
No.
Let me. I guess I don't know what I'm doing here. Let's see.
Upper left-hand side, there's a little box with a green arrow, or with a green box with a white arrow that says screen share.
Okay. Share. Okay.
There you go.
It's getting better but I'm going to have it like really big.
So you've got some stuff going on with your data that shouldn't be there. Like you've got your totals in there. The total shouldn't be on that line graph. So eliminate the total column from your line graph.
But I thought that's what the requirement was, to put dollar amounts for the bar graph.
Not for the line graph, not for your total. You have all of your data running in. So basically the total of all of those lines are coming in at the last column. And that shouldn't be there.
What, the total column?
Mm-hmm.
Right there. That needs to go away.
Select data.
Over on the right-hand side.
Yeah, so actually that
deselect.
top right, or you can just change that 06.
There you go.
Okay, so then how do I move this? I don't know how to. I still can't see all the numbers.
So right there, stop. Go down to the line a little bit and
This one?
grab it. Go down a little bit. You'll see the 4 arrows. Grab it and pull it down. Nope, wrong thing. Let go. Control Z.
Okay.
There you go. So you just want to grab the January, February box.
Like this?
Yep, so try and get on that line. I wouldn't do it towards the left. I'd do it underneath, like in between January and February. Right there.
Hover until you see the move
There you go.
icon.
Oh.
You can also go over, so you have your format. Click on it. Click on the months again.
Can you actually just
left
arrow
click it?
down?
I'm sorry?
So yeah, there. Now go over to the right, all the way to the right. Don't right click. Just keep that highlighted. Go all the way to the right, and you see where it says Format Axis. Go over to what looks like a bar graph, all the way on the right side of your screen.
Yeah.
Keep going all the way right.
Oh, format axis. Sorry.
So there's right below. There looks like it's a little bar graph.
Yeah.
Click on that, and then click on labels. And then instead of see where it says label position next to axis, drop that down and click bottom. You were right.
Yeah, right there.
Right there. Nope.
Not that one.
Oh, check mark. Sorry.
No, you're right. You're in the right spot.
Here?
So under the 100, so there's a drop down next to axis. Drop that down and click low.
There you go.
Oh.
And if that's too low, then now you adjust the 100. You can take it up to 20, 10, whatever, and that will give you wiggle room in between there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm just no good at Excel. Sorry. Thank you.
No problem.
And okay, I see what you're doing there.
Yeah. So let me get back to.
And you are going to want to move that pie chart just so it's not overlapping the other one.
Yeah, I'll fix that. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, I stopped sharing.
Okay. Are there any more questions about Project 10 at all? We all good with these ones?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay, cool. Then let's just chat about 11 for those who've hit on 11.
You guys are always too early for me.
Okay. So I'm curious to see what your guys' graph looked like on this one, because mine, I wonder, here, mine looks like a heartbeat, so I'm hoping it's that.
And it should.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at this going, I'm pretty sure this is what it's looking for, but wasn't 100% confident on it. So here, I'll just share again. So something
looks
like
right.
what yours look like? Okay.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this is going to be hard, I could tell.
Well, okay, so here's the deal. The lesson itself will only be complicated when you're trying to get the monthly revenue in a nested if statement that will calculate correctly, so that all you have to do is drag it down. Once you get that, exactly like how he's got there, and good job using the year command. That's perfect. So, and make sure that, that looks absolutely solid. And then when you drag that down, then that gives you everything that you needed, and life is grand.
Yeah. So here's my question for you guys, because in the instructions for this one, it says that it wants you to do this part right here by year, the yearly dashboard. I guess the only beef I was having with it. So the last part here is use formulas so that it's sorted. If it's sorted in any manner, then the data will still be correct. I guess the thing for me is like, did you guys interpret this as wanting chunks of 12 months at a time or strictly by year? Because like for example, like if we look at the data, there's 2 months in 2012. Are they considering that 1 year? Or did you guys interpret it in blocks of 12 months at a time?
Go back to the question, please, so I can see which one you're talking about.
Yeah. So this one right here. Choose one of the years in the worksheet.
Yeah, so you're going to have basically a drop-down menu that has either 2012, 2013, all the way up to 2017. And whatever data you have for that year is what it's asking for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So in 2012, you will only have 2 months of data.
Yeah, and that's ultimately how I did it. What I was having, I guess, the hardest time with was making this drop-down menu dynamic enough so that way, like, for example, I mean, you'll always have 6 years that in the drop-down, except for when it perfectly lines up with the year. So, like, I was having an issue with, because ultimately what I did to get this drop-down menu here was I took, oh, shoot. Hold on. There we go. What am I doing? Here we go. Can't I unhide? Unhide. Oh,
because you didn't unprotect your sheet.
Yeah, I'm like, what the heck? I could have sworn I fixed that. All right. So my drop down means based off of this, the max year, and then subtracted 1 each time from it to get me my drop down menu. I guess my only issue with that is like when it lines up perfectly, that last year, there'll be no data that pulls from that last year. If that makes any sense whatsoever.
So why didn't you use a validation list instead of what you did?
Well, I did. I mean, this is a validation list here from that basically. So, but I was just trying to make sure that this validation list remained dynamic based off of these years changing, because ultimately, you know, these years are going to change because they use the actual date.
Yeah, but if you put, well, you're putting the year in there, so you're only looking at the year, whatever that date is. So you need to use the if statements to make sure that you're just capturing what year, and if the year matches that year, then pull that data.
Yeah.
You're overthinking the level of dynamics needed for this.
Yeah, maybe that's what that's what the issue is.
In the real world, I could understand why you did that. For this class, however, it's not necessary. You can do it as just a solid list without a formula.
Yeah, like I mean, all of my data that I'm pulling from is ultimately this is coming from all if statements from this right here. Like it's all dynamic based off of this one right here. So like when I change it, there we go, it pulls up, and it's all based off of the if statements. Or did I get pulled from the if? How did I do this? So I did it from this over here.
So let me ask you what your thoughts then are on, because my understanding of what I read in the statement was that, you know, it should all be done into formulas that are built in. We shouldn't manipulate or add or change the data. So I'm actually building everything so that I don't have to have your E through K columns. I don't know. What's your interpretation of that, Tony?
I actually haven't gotten that far, to be completely honest with you. I got the if statement done, and I had to take my youth group to the temple tonight, so I didn't get to finish it.
Cool.
It's a decent excuse, I suppose.
I guess, right?
You know, I'll think about letting that one slide.
So,
yeah, I guess the only reason I did this is when I watched the video from the guy that does the videos. He talked about how in like requirements 3 and 4 to have like different calculations out here, and that's ultimately why I did it, because I felt that was something that he said. But like for the first one, that was what you were saying is completely my interpretation too, where you can't do any manipulations. All should be done through if statements to get the monthly revenue. So, but yeah, I did it that way basically just because of what he said in the video.
Okay, I must have glazed over that one or been zombified when he said that because I missed it.
We can table it and discuss it in email more than likely. I intend to go through this tomorrow, so if you can email out that question, we can probably discuss it as a group in the email tomorrow.
Yeah. Cool. But like your sections, Casey, have you done this? Are your sections similar to what I have with the total revenue and the yearly and the
that's
monthly?
the intent. My dashboard is intended to look like that. I just haven't started the formatting yet. I haven't made it pretty. Okay. I've just got all the data in there.
Okay. The monthly information, I felt like the monthly one was I mean, I think there's a number of ways to do it. I initially wanted to do the count if, but I couldn't figure out the count if. Maybe actually you guys can help me with this one. So when I was trying to do a count if based off of the data that's in this column, but every time I did this, it wouldn't return any, it wasn't recognizing these numbers. And is it because it wasn't recognizing these numbers because these are all derived from formulas?
No.
Okay.
So where's your count if statement?
So ultimately what I ended up doing was just doing an if statement. So I did here, I'll show you.
So I can probably tell you what we're using a count if or a count if s.
I was just using count if. Maybe that's one.
So you need to use a count if s, and you'll be able to get there.
Okay. Yeah, because then if I do, so if we just here, let me go back here. If I do equals, oh shoot. Equals. So then if
range first.
Yeah, so I want this guy. And then criteria. So let's see.
So what is it that you're trying to match?
Oh shoot, that's not what I want. So I want it to count if the inputted number is, or if, hold on. I want it to count if any of these numbers are less than the inputted number.
Okay, so that what you were doing was right. Count if S, select the range, then hit comma, and then you're going to hit the criteria 1, and the criteria 1 is going to be if, open parentheses, that cell, or if, what's the number I'm looking for?
So if this cell right here.
Well, would it be that one or would it be the one on the other page?
It's the one on the other page.
Yeah. So here's one other thing that you can do to make this a whole lot easier. Instead of selecting your criteria range, go back in and rename your range. Just select everything in that and call it revenue.
Okay.
Okay, so that's going to make it a little bit easier. So then now that when you do a count if, and I'm kind of walking through this, if I could spell. So then instead of the selection of the criteria range, you're just going to put in, revenue, comma, and then the criteria 1 is going to be an if, make sure I'm getting this right, if would it be the revenue or would it just be one cell?
I'm not sure. The only way you'd be able to do that is if you literally called out each individual cell on that count ifs.
So, I mean, really, maybe that goes back into how because ultimately what I did was I made an if statement in here. And so I did if this cell right here is less than that cell right there, and count it. And if it's true, then give me the 1. And if it's false, don't give me anything. And then I just did a sum function for all those to get this number.
But if you're doing that in 2 cells, then you should be able to do it in 1 cell.
Yeah, and that's where I was feeling like the count if would be the one that would be able to do it in 1 cell. I wasn't being able to figure out how to make that happen.
So hang on. If we just did, first off, just write the if statement. If that is greater than 5,000, comma, then value if true would be 1. Value of false, 0. So that returns the 1. But then if you put in front of that, go back into the formula and put count if, and then you would have to select that all of those, huh? Yeah, I have to give that one some thought, to be honest with you, because I haven't even looked at that yet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Short of doing that for each individual cell, and it's faster to do it the way he did it.
Oh, I don't doubt that it's faster to do it the way they did it, but that doesn't mean that I don't have a problem that I want to solve all in one cell.
Yeah,
I agree with that, but.
And that's where I get my kicks out of Excel, is going in and okay, here's a problem. Now, how do I get it to work? Because I've actually got some Excel chains that I have to modify in a Word document because they're so big. It's crazy, and I love doing that. And it just cracks me up because I want somebody else to open that Excel sheet up and go, "What the heck?"
Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. Well, what else? Anything else?
No, we just need to turn it in with the link. So
yeah, I'll send out the link once we finish up here.
Kevin, you're a rock star, sir. Thank you very much.
Yep.
My pleasure.
Hey, Kevin, where are you from?
I'm in San Diego.
You said y'all.
Maybe, I don't know. I talk on the, well, I don't not even so much anymore, but I talk on the phone all day for my work, so maybe I pick it up from a lot of people that I speak to.
You know, I'm from Tennessee, and I used to pick up on that all the time. It's actually annoying me here lately because everybody around the country is starting to say it, and I'm like, no, that's my word.
Actually, what it may be, because I lived out in Florida about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
That's where you got it.
And that may be actually where it's from, was my time in Florida.
Well, I'm just going to say that all y'all, that's not how we talk in Texas.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you guys said Ewans.
Ewans.
No, all y'all.
That's funny.
I'm just going to have to turn my assignment in as it is. I mean, I really can't fool around with this anymore. It's not, I already lost part of my work. My Excel screwed up in the middle of the assignment.
Yeah, I have a question. Is anyone else having issues with these pre-made worksheets?
I'm having issues with everything related to this class.
What kind of issues? Like being able to just put data or what?
I'm actually having Excel crash on these pre-made worksheets. And
Yeah, I just had a crash.
I work out of Excel all day and I never have an issue. And my computer by no means is not capable of handling it. But these pre-built worksheets are actually causing my Excel to lock up and crash.
I did start experiencing that today as well. And today was the first day that's really happened with me. So, yes.
Okay.
You know what? I got that on one. Actually, now that you say that, I did get that on one mini project a couple projects ago. So, yeah, it's happened to me once, actually, yeah.
It started on the last exam.
No,
Maybe
I actually
that's
had to
actually-
turn in my computer to somebody to look at because of this.
Oh, goodness.
Oh,
If
jeez.
you guys are saying it's this class, then I know what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had problems today on this.
Oh.
Cool.
I wonder if the templates were originally built in an earlier version and then just saved up, and that's causing problems.
Well, not
Yeah,
just that. What's weird is when it actually crashed and tried to recover, it tried to recover as a binary file when it's actually saved as an Excel workbook.
Yeah, I was just noticing that because one of my files came up with the XLSB.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yep.
what is
Mine
that?
too. Mine too.
It's all ones and zeros to me, guys.
And now I don't see it anymore. It's like it doesn't exist.
Sorry, that's a nerd joke.
That was. Is it bad that we got it? Though? That's the question.
No, man, your stock went up because you got it.
Well, I put some major complaints in to the instructor. Will they make a difference? I don't know. But if more than one person does,
Well, one of the issues I
it
had.
won't be so awful.
One of the issues I had was one of the files that we had to download was a macro-enabled file for one of the projects. I don't remember what it was. And the macros they had in there were absolutely horrendous. And I wanted to, like, side note email the teacher that she should have stripped those out of there because anybody looking at those who've written VB code would have thrown up because it was just a mess.
Well,
Well, that's-
I don't look at naughty pictures like that. I don't know what you're talking about.
okay, what I was going to say also, and I know we're live still, but I don't even know if the instructor knows anything about Excel because she's not even available. I mean, I feel like she's a facilitator, and that's what I said in my review.
So
What facilitating is she doing?
when you say she's not available, have you tried emailing her, Sister Cochran?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Has she not responded?
Well, she does, but not with anything relevant. Nothing that's going to be able to help me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I did have an issue with one of my graded papers from the TA, and she fixed it. So that's the only correspondence I've had with her.
I've emailed her probably 50 times since we've started.
Oh, jeez.
But my original problem was that I didn't have a Windows computer and I was using Parallels. And I finally had to buy a new computer because it wasn't working.
That's why you shouldn't drink the Mac Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't pick on you for that.
Well,
Fine. I mean, that totally ate up my first 3 weeks of class because I
Jeez.
struggled with it for a while, and then I was like, I can't do this at the computer.
So Casey, you only had an issue with one of your papers?
Yeah.
Dude, you're lucky. I've almost every assignment I've had to go back and dispute. Like there was the one where we had to list the sources. I got marked off like 10 points. It said I didn't have sources. I'm like, it was right there on the main page. Where else did they want it?
Jeez.
No, I've only had one paper that was less than an A. So I'm not trying to brag. I don't like bringing that up. But, and the way I look at it, guys, if I'm not going to argue over a few points here and there. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Pick your battles.
Yeah.
Unless you get, an F.
Mine are consistently the equivalence of dropping a letter grade, though, on everything I've had to dispute.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
The only letter grade that I got that was dropped was because I didn't have a link once. And okay, I'll take that one.
Yep.
This last time I included a link, and it said, because I submitted my file and then I had to go back in and resubmit it with the link, but it didn't take. And it even said, you're going to overwrite this. Are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I want to overwrite my new submission. So when I did that, the link didn't go through, and I sent it back to her, and she changed my grade, so all is well. But that's the only issues I've had.
Cool.
And I'm glad they allowed 2 videos for one, or 2 mini, one video for 2 mini projects.
Yeah, I'm glad they haven't had an issue with that.
Cool.
All right,
guys.
Well, I guess if there's anything else, we'll just go in the email chain and go from there.
You got my numbers during the day, Priscilla. You can give me a call.
I know. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Well, y'all have a good. Oh, there it is again. That's your fault. Now I'm thinking about it. You guys, you folks,
Ewans.
Oh, yeah.
What's
All
a
right.
Ute? The 2 Utes.
Have a good rest of your week, guys.
That's an awesome story.
I was hoping somebody would catch that reference.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Buff. Okay, thanks.